This is Bifflespud of Peeps of 122, and I wanted to make a little video to show off what a bunch of really OP 3-stars can do on TOA hard. This is my actual first time I've ever killed Lyrith. You're seeing my second time through, so I've got one time of practice. But it's these 3-stars that are really making the difference here, especially Yaku. I'm relying on attack bar wipes to keep Juno's really hideous passive from wrecking me. Remember that she kicks in a cleanse and a team heal and gets a turn if she's got 2 or more debuffs on her when her turn comes up. So I'm just making sure she doesn't get a lot of turns. I'm trying to kill her dead. You just saw Yaku drop a massive nuke on her, as does Spectra, based on her hit points. She'll be whittled down by the team before she ever gets her turn. You see everybody else is starting to catch up. I have this opportunity to kill a almost dead. And that's another enable getting destroyed by Wipeout, which is Yaku's somewhat Lucian-like ignored defense, sometimes but 5 tries, hit point destroyer. She was almost killed. If I was a little luckier, she'd have been killed dead. Unfortunately, I didn't get to fully knock her out, but I'll tear her apart in just a second. Can I do it before Juno gets a turn? Yes, I can. So here comes the attack bar wipe. And now I don't have to really worry about those Junos kicking in their passive for a while. If I can tear up any of these units before they get another turn, there went a really heavy nuke from Yaku, and the other occult girl is dead. You can see Yaku is really doing a lot of destruction. Spectra's really nice. He's got a great kit. He has 1 hit point destroy move. Yaku's got effectively 2. One is not exactly the same as the other. One scales on hit points. Wipeout scales because of
Finisher.
It gets 5 tries and it murders things. So he just tore apart that Juno with no real trouble. If their defense broken before you use Wipeout, so much the better. That gives you 5 chances to ignore defense, and even if you don't, you still do massive damage. I'll benefit from defense breaks, which is why Enable is still useful. She could be replaced with Lyrith, who does much the same thing, except doesn't heal and cleanse. You'd have to get that from somebody else, but she is useful for her defense breaks here, helps Yaku. You'll see her being useful later on in the fight as well, mostly to speed things up and help the team knock out hit point bars before I have too much trouble. At this point, I'm actually not using any real cooldowns because why would I? It's going to let her get her turn popped off here because I can't kill her before she uses her moves. And because she's not defense broken, Yaku didn't get to kill her with his hit point nuke. She's going to get a turn, annoy me, and I'll try to beat her down in just a second. While we're autoing her effectively, I do want to point at Kroa. He's really fast. He's got a really high base speed, so I'm relying on his base speed to help get the speed buff up for everybody else. Most of the rest of the team is pretty fast, except for Yaku himself. An attack bar builder would probably work well for him. Kroa already does that. Unfortunately, he doesn't seem to like picking Yaku. He likes picking Varad, and that's fine too. I don't mind that either. He does pick the one with the lowest attack bar. It seems to usually be Varad in this video. Getting through the first stage of Lyrith, so getting past the Junos and Enables, is probably the hardest. This one's just annoying. Not so much because of the Veramos, but more because of the Arias. I didn't have a lot of luck keeping them all stunned, so this was a bad CC run for me. The other fun part of this is you're going to see that each of the Arias get a turn to drop their obnoxious debuff spam on me, and that would have made it a lot slower had that had stayed on. If they were going to focus fire anybody, the Aria is going to go after Kroa, who's tough. He's tanky and nobody here defense breaks, so he can take a little bit of beating from them, even though he's speed def, and I'll show you the runes at the end of the run. The Arias aren't getting a whole lot of turns here, and Enable is cleaning off any debuffs they're getting. I'm just not lucky with knocking out the entire team with stuns. I actually should have tried to sleep Aria there instead of hitting Veramos twice with it, but whatever, mistakes were made. It's not going to be all that costly here while you're watching them. It's just a matter of CCing them. Spectra's having terrible luck here knocking out attack bars, so Veramos is going to get his turn to cleanse off all of Enable's hard work. And there's another thing, debuff spam I would like to have blocked, and I screwed it up. We'll have to suffer that for just a second, but girl's prayer, and we're good again. Enable's really useful for this if your CC fails. I'm going to rely on her a lot for some of the later turns.
Finish him!
The boss herself, but she's really bringing it home. I just got her, so she's not 40. I do really like her. Oh, by the way, that red bar in Veramos, yes, Spectra has destroy runes. Does he need them? No. Was I going to use them on anyone else? Also no. So, yay, enjoy your destroy runes, Spectra. That totally makes sense for you to have. And at this point, they're just helpless. I'm going to treat them like punching bags. Didn't quite get the kill. Beat, beat, beat. Beat, 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 beat. I'm not going to waste a heal here. Stab. Stab. I could probably fast forward this part. In fact, I probably should. So, while you're watching this, the other thing I wanted to mention to you, Spectra is what he is. He's a hit point nuke that slows things down. He does not require a whole lot besides speed, crit rate, crit damage, and accuracy. He can benefit from attack, but I wouldn't build him heavily for that. And that was a wipeout, knocking out one of the Arias, and we're good. So the first time you open up against Lyrith, in fact, whenever she doesn't have incarnations out and she's not stunned, she'll try to hit you back, and she'll knock the debuffs off. Because she's guaranteed, or at least mostly guaranteed, to strip her debuff when she counterattacks, buffers like Ariel and Kroa are a little bit of a disadvantage against her because the buffs will be taken off most of the time. It's best not to hit her at all if she's not stunned and there's incarnations up. Ideally, you don't hit the incarnations unless they're stunned, because except for blue, they all have something annoying that they can do back to you. I was getting a little cocky here to figure, well, gee, I did so well the first time I did this ever. I wonder if I could just do without killing any of the incarnations at all and just go for her. I'm going to change my strategy here in just a second. I'm starting off a little conservative. I figured, never mind, I'm going right for her. And then I get cold feet later on. I change back to killing the incarnations. The other limiting factor is I don't have green defense broken yet, Enable missed. So I'm going to have to wait a few turns until she can get that back. In the meanwhile, I'm just going to have to keep the team running as much as I can and keep everybody CC'd as much as possible. And I'm having a hard time with that one too, although I did wipe out their attack bars. Spear Pierce does do great damage. You can see I've already got Lyrith down to about 3/4. And I'm hitting her with all the hit point nukes I can, mostly because they don't opportunistically work against the other units, and I'll explain why. The green one has a high life total, so yes, she'd have been perfectly fine to use Spear Pierce or Special Assault against if she was defense broken, otherwise it's kind of a waste. Wipeout works great against the blue one. The blue one actually has a very low life, so any of the hit point scaling attacks like Spear Pierce or Special Assault pretty much do beans against her. It's just not worth using them on the blue one. That's where Yaku really shines. He's got his 5 hit unavailable to him, but as soon as he gets that ready again, I'm going to try to use it on blue, especially since blue is defense broken. It'll already do great damage to her. If he manages to land more than maybe one of his ignore defenses, she's going to go down like a wet sack of groceries. Right now, though, I'm just sort of laboring through. They're not really doing anything to me. I've got 3 turns until she attempts to merge. I have Spear Pierce up, and I'm going to use it on green one at this point, because I'm actually, this is the point where I started changing my strategy. I figured I better get these guys dead, because I only have 3 turns. It actually turns out not to have mattered, but I got cold feet, and I did the more conservative thing. It didn't cost me. Struggling along here, keeping the attack bars down. There comes Wipeout. And she's dead. And that's how powerful Yaku is. He just tears up any high defense, low hit points unit randomly, but with 5 chances and a 25% chance to ignore defense, he's got a pretty good shot at it. I only have to worry about green. Green's got her defense broken, and pretty much I can just tear her apart at this point. Special Assault will do great against her, Spear Pierce will do great against her, and Yaku's 5-stab Rush will also work just fine against her, even though she doesn't have very high defense anyway. No sense not killing her. Kroa, by the way, with his Woodvine, he's almost Beretta. So he can drop that skill a lot like Turbulence. He does destroy attack bars doing it. And at this point, it's just a matter of beating Lyrith into the ground. She's not really going to give me a lot of trouble, except for one point coming up where she almost kills somebody. And that was pretty much by the grace of God, my team's not wiped out. Because she's not stunned, and because I brought a heavy attack bar destroy group with me, I'm not going to let her get down to her 0 counter. It probably would have been advantageous for me to have done so, just let her stun herself and beat the tar out of her, but I just didn't bother. So I'm going to have to suffer the fact that she's kicking my debuffs off as she's working. I'm going to try to keep my team healed as much as I can, and since she is pretty dangerous with her skills, I'll try to keep her from doing too much damage to anybody that they're getting low. You're going to see that's not going to work perfectly, because as I'm working on her, she's countering me back. The imp's now in trouble. So if she gets her move and I don't get a heal on him, he'll actually struggle a lot, but I've got a heal. So that's not a big deal so long as you don't catch anybody with their pants too down. Lyrith doesn't necessarily pick on the one with the low hit points, but if she AoE'd, she probably would have killed him. And he's in rough shape again. Kroa's going to try to heal her, but look, her attack bar's filled. I'm going to be screwed here in just about a second. Oh, but Violet Prox, I love you. That was almost a wipe for Yaku. Probably could have gotten by without it, but it would have been a little rougher, and she probably would have attempted to merge if I didn't have his DPS. Nope, just a matter of beating on her. And beating on her. Got to break her defense. That was a good luck, because she's my only defense breaker. And boom, there went her attack bar again. So now she'll attempt to merge. If she makes it, she's not going to make it. So it's really just a matter of these high hit point nukes getting their turns with her. And the fact that I've effectively bought 3, because Spectra has 1, Yaku has 2, she's on the ropes. If I can keep her from getting a move and doing me any trouble, boom, she's not going to do a move and cause me any trouble. I'm pretty much free to do whatever I want to her. So, boom. Spectra will get her on the next turn for sure. Don't have anything to do. And blammo. And that's it. It's difficult to do with a limited team, but Spectra alone can't do it. Spectra and Yaku certainly can, because it is effectively 3 high hit point nukes. I'm going to sweep through the runes. I won't necessarily make a whole lot of commentary, except to say, yes, they are pretty decently runed. Varad is violent. He's also max skilled, so it really does help for his abilities to be able to drop as much CC as he does. His first skill doesn't matter, but his second and certainly third ones do. He's willed for PvP. It didn't do him any good in this scenario, but they're not bad runes, so might as well. Here comes my new girl. She's violent as well. I'm using her as Endure because it gives her a lot. I mean, she's 75% resist, so I don't have to worry about her. And I lucked out on her prayer. Not amazing runes, but certainly workable for her. Oops, gotta buy her a gift. There's the boy. Notice he doesn't have a lot of hit points, and he's not very fast. He's got a high crit rate, and he murders things. He is max skilled, and that helps him cycle his DPS a lot to have all those cooldowns down to minimum. And you just can get by with Fatal. Because he has such crap hit points, I thought Nemesis would work well for him, and indeed it speeds him up. I mean, he's a bit of a slug, and any light tap that doesn't kill him will give him a pretty decent Nemesis boost. So it ends up increasing his DPS as long as he's not killed outright. Spectra is a garbage fire. These are the runes that I had that gave him the stats that he needed. So I've got 2 focus because he does need accuracy. I gave him some life so he wouldn't be killed so easily, and they're decent runes. And destroy, because why the heck not? They're nice runes. I'm just sorry they're destroyed, but where else was I going to use them? And he's got a very high speed. Yes, Swift would work, but this works fine. And there's Kroa. He's got amazingly high base speed, almost up there with Spectra. His buff is max. His other skills aren't. I'd love to max him, but I don't have any more demon fetus babies to feed him right now. And given his base speed, I made him Swift. Because his S1 increases attack bar, he's Revenge. Doesn't really matter that he's Swift, but might as well take advantage of it. Plus I had high defense Swift runes, and where the heck else was I supposed to use them? So kind of recycling all the pieces that I have. This is pretty much my TOA team from here on out on this point, and I really like the way they turned out. So I wanted to use this video to show off some pretty awesome 3 stars, and they are totally awesome 3 stars. Big shout out to my peeps. Hello peeps of 122. All my good pals in the 122 global channel. And this is Bevel Spud, and I will see you next video, should there be a next video.